661 Death of Ali ibn Abu Talib, 4th Caliph of the Rashidun Caliphate 656-61, and 1st Shia Imam 632-661, assassinated by Ibn Muljam a Kharijite at around 59. In 1119 Pope Gelasius II Giovannis Caetani, in office from 1118-19, dies at about 57. Birth details murky. In 1340 Louis I, Duke of Bourbon b. 1279. In 1559 Thomas Pope, English politician, benefactor, dies at about 52. In 1597 Elias Ammerbach, German organist, dies at about 67. In 1601 Louise de Lorraine, Queen Consort of France 1575-89, dies at 47. In 1608 Frederick I, Duke of Württemberg, dies at 50. In 1647 Francis Mears, English writer b. 1565. In 1663 Robert Sanderson, Bishop of Lincoln 1660-63, dies. In 1678 Jeronimo Lobo, Portuguese Jesuit missionary b. 1593. In 1696 Ivan V, disabled co-Tsar of Russia 1682-89, dies at 29 OS. In 1706 Charles Sackville, 6th Earl of Dorset, English poet, courtier to Charles Roman II and patron of the arts, dies at 68. In 1715 Bernard Lamy, French oratorian, theologian, and mathematician parallelogram of forces, dies at 74. In 1737 George Hamilton, 1st Earl of Orkney, British Army officer and 1st Field Marshal of the British Army, dies at 70. In 1743 Andre Hercule Fleury, French Cardinal 1726-43, dies. In 1763 Johann Ludvig Holstein, Danish politician, Minister of State, 1735-51, dies at 68. In 1763 Louis Racine, French poet La Religion, dies at 70. In 1814 Johann Gottlieb Fichte, German philosopher Wissenschaftslehrer, dies at 51. King of Great Britain and Ireland and King Elector of Hanover 1760-1820, dies after years of mental illness at 81. In 1824 Louise of Stolberg-Gedern, Countess of Albany and wife of Bonnie Prince Charlie, dies at 71. In 1829 Paul François Nicolas, French politician of the French Revolution, dies at 73. In 1841 Juan Lovera, Venezuelan artist, dies at 64. In 1859 Seth Thomas, American manufacturer and pioneer in the mass production of clocks, dies at 73. In 1859 William Cranch Bond, American astronomer, co-discovered Hyperion, dies at 69. In 1870 Leopold II, Grand Duke of Tuscany, dies at 72. In 1871 Philippe-Joseph Aubert de Gaspé, French Canadian writer, Les Anciens Canadiens, dies at 84. In 1879 Antonio Benedetto Antonucci, Italian cardinal and diplomat, dies at 80. In 1888 Edward Lear, English poet and author famous for his nonsense poems The Owl and the Pussycat, dies at 75. In 1897 John E. Smith, American brevet major, General Union Army, dies at 80. In 1899 Alfred Sisley, French impressionist painter, dies at 59. In 1899 Robert Fruin, Dutch historian, 80 Years' War, and Professor Leiden University, dies at 75. In 1906 Christian Roman IX, King of Denmark 1893-1906, dies at 87. 1910 Edouard Rod, French Swiss writer Michel Tessy, dies at 52. In 1912 Herman Bang, Danish writer, dies at 54. In 1917 Evelyn Baring, 1st Earl of Cromer, British diplomat, consul general in Egypt, 1883-1907, and writer, dies at 75. British Field Marshal Sudan, WWI nicknamed Butcher Haig due to mass casualties under his command during the Battle of the Somme, dies from a heart attack at 66. In 1929, La Goulue Louise Weber, French cancan dancer Moulin Rouge, known as the Queen of Montmartre, dies at 62. In 1933, Sarah T. Stale, American lyric poet, Pulitzer Prize 1918 love songs, commits suicide at 48. In 1934, Fritz Haber, German physicist and chemist, Nobel Prize for Chemistry 1918, for process to synthesize ammonia, dies at 65. In 1940, Edward Harkness, American philanthropist, America's sixth richest person in 1918, dies at 66. In 1941, Ioannis Metexis, Greek military officer, politician, and dictator 1936-41, dies of throat cancer at 69. In 1942, Baron J. Arnold, American electrical engineer and inventor railroad electrification, dies at 80. In 1942, Ladislaus Vertel, Czech Italian conductor and composer, dies at 92. In 1944, William Allen White, American journalist, Emporia Gazette, dies at 75. In 1945, Gustav Flatto, German gymnast, Olympic gold team parallel bars, team horizontal bar 1896, dies of starvation at 70. In 1946, Harry Hopkins, American statesman and presidential advisor, U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Lonely Slaw, dies at 55. In 1946, Sidney Jones, British conductor and composer, The Jaysher, A Gaiety Girl, dies at 84. In 1947, Fred Barrett, English cricket fast bowler, 5 tests, 5 wickets, Nottinghamshire CCC, dies at 52. In 1948, Tomislav Roman II of Croatia, 4th Duke of Ulster, Italian aristocrat, b. 1900. In 1950, Ahmad al-Jaber al-Sabr, Emir of Kuwait, b. 1885. In 1951, James Bridie Osborne Henry Maver, Scottish dramatist, dies at 63. In 1955, Hans Hedtoft, 14th Prime Minister of Denmark 1947-50, 53-55, dies at 51. American newspaperman and critic, Prejudices, Smart Set, dies at 75. In 1960, Louis Jean Haight, American character actor, Waterfront, Gone with the Wind, The Great Maginty, dies from a heart attack at 56. In 1962, Friedrich Max Fritz Kreisler, Austrian-American violinist and composer, Altwiener Tannhäuser, dies at 86. American poet, New Hampshire, 4 Pulitzers, dies at 88. In 1964, Alan Ladd, American actor, Shane, Carpetbaggers, dies from an overdose at 50. In 1965, Jack Hilton, English orchestra leader and impresario, Crazy Passaggio, dies at 72. In 1965, John Larkin, American actor, Saint Sinners, The Satan Bug, 12 O'Clock High, dies of a heart attack at 52. In 1965, Mikor Spisak, Polish composer, Hymne Olympique, dies at 50. In 1966, Joseph Winkler, German dentist and writer, Tolbormurg, dies at 84. In 1966, Pierre Mercure, Canadian composer, dies in an accident at 38. In 1967, W. Odzimierz Ponaik, Polish composer, dies at 62. In 1968, Laxmiters Perstarmters Jai, Indian cricket batsman, won Test, captain Bombay in inaugural Ranji Trophy,